I've been pressure canning for over 10 years, and I've definitely made some mistakes along the way. Here are 3 things I wish I would have known when I was first starting out. The first thing was, when I started canning, I didn't have any jars, so I was really excited to inherit some used jars from older relatives and also find some at garage sales. Sometimes these old jars are so pretty, like this rose-colored one. There's blue, there's purple, and even green. And unfortunately, these jars don't hold up anymore to canning most of the time. If you don't want to make a big mess or have your jars explode, I highly recommend using a more modern canning jar. If you inherit ones that somebody used that are only a couple years old, that's totally fine. You don't have to start with brand new. But when we're talking about 50, 70 to 100-year-old canning jars, it's best to just leave those for decorating. The second thing that I had a hard time understanding, it wasn't as much of a mistake as it was just understanding the concept, was maintaining pressure. When you follow a recipe, typically you want to follow it exactly. So if the recipe calls for the pressure canner to be held at 12 pounds of pressure, I assumed that meant 12 pounds of pressure the whole time, and it does. However, what you'll find is that it's very hard to keep the dial on that pressure gauge exactly every minute of that hour. So instead, you're looking for an average. You don't want it to dip below 10 pounds and you don't want it to go above 14 pounds. As long as you can kind of stay in that average, you're still safe. However, if it drops really low for a period of time or too high, you could risk the food either being contaminated or not being pressurized enough. In those situations, I typically just shut my canner off or start the clock over. The last mistake I made just recently, my pressure canner has been used so much that I have a line that the water has caused to show what the water level should be at. When I filled the pressure canner this last time, I filled it to that line where it typically goes, and I accidentally canned it for a little bit too long. The water ends up evaporating completely out at that time. Luckily, I had caught it just in time, but had it gone any longer, I would have burned my canner and all of the jars in it. So be careful you're watching your time carefully and your water level. I hope that helped you avoid some of the mistakes that I made. If you have any questions about canning, feel free to drop a comment below. And if you're looking for more information, check out this video I made on quick tips for beginner canners.